Hi everyone, welcome back to the part 2 of this course. And in our previous part, which is part 1, we have created this beautiful homepage, as you can see that. And also after creating this homepage, we have made this page responsive for our small screen devices. And in this part, we are going to create our browse jobs page, where we are going to have a heading, a paragraph, and then we will create a functional search bar. Also, we are going to create multiple job listings using dynamic JavaScript. And for each of these listing, we are going to have a different job details page as well. As you can see that on the top, we have a banner, and inside the banner, we have the company image, the company name, location, and the apply now button. And underneath this, we have the vacancy, position, hours, and salary. And then we are going to have our job descriptions and other details as well. Now let's select another job listing, for example this one. And here you can see that for this job listing, we are going to have a different image, we're going to have a different company name, and a different job descriptions as well. And in this part 2, we're going to learn how to create templates using HTML. And using that same template, we're going to create multiple job details page so that each job listing can have different descriptions. And we're going to learn a lot of JavaScript in this part. So if you are new in this course, then please go and check out our part 1. The link of this part 1 will be given in the description. And in this part 2, we're going to create our job listings and dynamic job details page. And before we start creating our project, if you are new in this course, then please do subscribe this channel, like this video, and press the bell icon for the future videos. And if you guys have any question about this course, about this tutorial, then please do let me know in my comment section. So let's get started. Before we start building our project, let's first get the hosting and domain name for our project. Hostinger is my personal recommendation. And right now they are offering amazing deals. So I need to share this with you. They offer a great price to quality ratio, high speed servers, and most importantly 24/7 chat support. For this specific project, I will choose their business plan. With just $3.99, you can host 100 websites and get many more features. But if you are a beginner, then you can choose the premium plan as well. I am choosing their business plan because it is more optimized for better performance. Also, we will get this free CDN out of the box, which means you will have better security against DNS attacks and most importantly, less loading time. Also, it offers a few great things such as a free email account, a free SSL, and a free domain name as well. Since I have partnered with Hostinger, they decided to give you an even bigger discount. You can find the link and the discount code in the description, or you can just visit hostinger.com/tech2etc. Once you visit the link in the description, let's choose a plan. I have selected the business hosting, and here we have to choose the period of our hosting. Now, here is the thing. If you want to save the most amount of money, then go for the longest period of time. Down below, you have to create an account, and after that, you have to select your payment. After selecting a payment method, then fill out all this information. Then you can enter your coupon code as well, which is going to be tech2etc, all uppercase. And that's going to give you an even bigger discount on your hosting package. And if I click on this apply button, and here you can see that we have our discounted price. After you purchase it, you will be redirected to the Hostinger's dashboard. In the dashboard, you will see a similar interface like this one. And from here, you have to complete these 3 tasks. But first, I will claim our free domain. And my domain name for this project will be mega by tech2etc. And from this extension, I'm going to select the .com. And then let's check the availability. And here you can see that our mega by tech2etc.com is available. Now let's claim the domain. And from here you have to select your region, And I'm going to select Bangladesh, and it will be a personal website, and then click on the next step. And here you have to give your first name, last name, region, city, address, zip code, and your phone number as well. And after filling out all the information, let's click on the finish registration button. And here you can see that our domain name is being set up. Now let's click on this continue button, and from here I will click skip. I don't need a website. And from here you have to simply verify your email address, and after verifying your email address, just click on this check again, and here you can see that your email address has been successfully verified. After this one, let's go to our home. We have only 2 tasks to complete. Now after creating our first part of our project, we are going to come back to our hostinger's dashboard again, and then we are going to set up our hosting. So now let's get started building our project. For creating our browse jobs page, first of all we have to go inside our file explorer, and inside our folder we have to create a new folder, and the folder name will be jobs. And inside our jobs folder, I'm going to create all the pages necessary for our this browse jobs page. Now let's create our first HTML for our this job folder. Simply create a new file, and the file name will be job.html. That's it. Now simply close the bar, and inside our job.html, I'm going to copy everything from our this index.html and then paste it here. Now let's go to the top, and here inside our head tag we will keep everything like this. But for our style sheet, because our this style sheet is not the same folder inside our job folder, that's why we have to use a // It means our style.css file is actually outside of our folder, which means inside our main folder. After this one, here you can see that we have our header as well, and inside our header we have our links, our nav links. And for our this home section, if anyone clicks on the home page, then I want to redirect our visitors to our index.html page. So that's why inside our href we have to use index.html. And since our this index.html is not the same page of our this job folder, it is outside of the job folder, so that's why we have to use // And for our browse jobs, it will be hash. And for our contact, again we have to use // and then we have to create a contact page, and this contact page will be also outside of our job folder. So that's why we have to use contact.html. And we didn't create our this contact page yet, but we will do that later of this video. And also for our logo, for our this jobs page, here you can see that if anyone clicks on the logo, then I want to redirect them inside our index.html page. But this index.html page is outside of our job portal, so that's why I'm going to use // Now save. That's it. Now let's go again inside our index.html file, and here inside our header, first of all for our home page, inside our href it will be hash. And for our browse jobs, and if anyone clicks on this browse jobs link, then I want to redirect my visitors to the newly created job.html page. So that's why inside our href, first of all we have to find the folder, so that's why it will be /, and then we have created our jobs folder, and inside our jobs folder we have our job.html. And for our contact, we have to again add a HTML file, and this time we are going to use only contact.html. That's it. Now save. If I now click on our logo, then it will redirect us to our home page. But if I now click on this browse jobs link, then I should be redirected to our job.html file. Now let's click on this jobs, and here you can see that on the URL we have jobs/job.html. It means right now we are in jobs.html page. But for our jobs.html page, we have to change few things from here. So for doing that, let's go to our job.html, I will simply close the header. And from here, I don't need any hero section. Also, I don't need any feature section. But I will be needing this job listing section. So that's why I will keep this one. But I will remove this hero section and this feature section as well. And then I don't want to keep any brand section. And I will remove the team section as well. That's it. Now save. And here you can see that right now we have only 3 components inside our website, which is our header, our job listing section, and our footer section. And now here you can see that we have this logo missing. It is because our logo is actually outside of this job folder. So that's why here we have to use ... That's it. And for our footer section as well, we have to use ... Now save. And now here you can see that we have our logo. Okay. Now if we go to our website and if we go to our browse jobs page, here you can see that we have a heading and then we have a text and then we have a search bar. Okay. Now we have to start creating these sections. And here you can see that after our header, we have this job listing section. And inside our job listing section, we have already our heading and our paragraph. And after our heading and paragraph, we have to create this search option. But before we create this search option, if we go to our website, here you can see that we don't have any space on the top of this section. So for doing that, if we go to our style sheet and if we go inside our global section, here you can see that we have a class name which is extra space, and this is containing padding top 8 rem. So I'm going to add this class name inside this section here. Now save. And here you can see that on the top we have no spacing. Okay. So after this one, now we have to create this search option. So for creating this search option, underneath of our paragraph, we have to create a form tag. And for now, this action will be empty. And inside our form tag, I'm going to create an icon for our search bar. And for this icon, I'm going to go inside our box icon. And here I'm going to find the search icon, which is this one. Now simply click on this icon and from here, select font, copy this icon and then paste it here. After this, I'm going to create an input tag for this search bar. That's why type will be text. Then I'm going to use the placeholder, and the placeholder will be search jobs. And for this input section, I'm going to use an ID, and the ID name will be search bar. Now save. And if we go to our website, here you can see that we have our search icon and our search bar. Now we have to style this section. And for styling this section, let's go inside our style sheet and scroll down. And underneath of our footer, I will add a comment and it will be browse jobs. That's it. Now for targeting this section, let's copy this jobs class name from here and then paste it here. Then target our form. First of all, I would add some spacing on the top. So that's why margin top, it will be 3 rem. Then I will use a width, and the width will be 100%. Then I will use a border, and the border from everywhere, it will be 1 pixel, solid. And the color will be this one. Then I will use a border radius and it will be 5 pixel. Now save. And here you can see that we have our form, and this form is now taking 100% of width. After this one, our icon and this search bar is now in one row, but they are not properly centered to each other. So that's why I'm going to use display flex, and then justify content will be a space between, and then align items will be center. Now save. And here you can see that they are now properly centered and they are now in one row. After this one, I'm going to simply copy this form and then paste it here. Then target our icon, and for our icon, I want to add some padding from the left side. So that's why padding left will be 1 rem. Then I will use a font size of 1.3 rem, and then font weight will be bold. Now save. That's it. Now we have our search icon. Okay, let's decrease the font size. It will be 1.1 rem. Now save. Yeah, this is now much better. After this one, now let's style this search option. So for targeting our search bar, I will simply copy this jobs and form, and then I will target our input. First of all, I will change the width, and the width will be 100%. And then I don't want any border, so that's why border will be none. Also, outline will be none as well. Now save, and here you can see that it is now taking 100% of width, and we don't have any border and outline. After this one, I want to add some padding, and the padding inside will be 1 rem for top and bottom, for left and right. And then I'm going to use the font size, and the font size will be 1.1 rem. Now save, and here you can see that we have our beautiful search option. Okay, so after creating our search option, we have to start creating this listing section. And in this part of our course, I'm going to show you how we can use only one single listing item, and by duplicating that item, we're going to create rest of the listings. Yes, it means we're going to make one listing section dynamic. So for doing that, now we have to create a local storing system. It means we're going to create one JavaScript file, and inside that JavaScript file, I'm going to store all this data. It means I'm going to store these images, these titles, this rate, and this keyword as well. So for doing that, let's go inside our jobs folder, and here I'm going to create another file, and this file name will be job-list.js. That's it. Here we have created a JavaScript file, and inside this JavaScript file, I'm going to create a local storing function. It means I'm going to create a JavaScript array, and inside this JavaScript array, I'm going to keep all this listing as object of that array. Let me show you what I am saying. Here inside our job list.js file, I'm going to create an array, and the array name will be jCategory. Now we have to create objects one by one inside this array. So for doing that, let's take curly braces, and inside this object, I'm going to add some parameter, or you can say I'm going to create some variables. And these variables will store our different data. First of all, I'm going to create an index variable, and this one will be 0. Because this is our first object of this array, so that's why the index number will be 0. And I hope you guys know, inside an array, the first object index number always starts from 0. So that's why index will be 0. And then I'm going to create a variable for storing this image. So that's why the variable name will be image. And if we go inside our folder, and inside our images, we have a lot of images. And for example, I'm going to take this Google image and store it inside our image variable. That's why we have to use the image path. We have an images folder, and inside our images folder, we have a google.png image. And since this image is actually outside of this job folder, so that's why at the beginning we have to use .. Now very careful guys, if you messed up anything inside this path, then your image will not show inside your website. So that's why I'm going to use .. And then we have our images folder, which is this one. And inside our images folder, we have our google.png. After storing our image, I'm going to create a variable so that we can store this heading. So that's why it will be title, and the heading will be web developer. And then I'm going to create another variable so that we can store the pricing. and this one will be $900 to $1200 per month. And then I'm going to create another variable for our this key, and the variable name will be availability. So that's why it will be AV, and this will be full time. Now save. Now inside our this J category array, we have created our first object. It means our this first listing. Now if I go to our actual website, and let's go inside our this job.html, and here you can see that we have another list, and this another list for our this sorting purpose, and I don't want this another list. That's it. And from our this job container, I will simply keep one listing, and I will remove other listings from our this container. That's it. Now here you can see that inside our this job container, we have only one listing. Now save, and here you can see that we have only one listing. Now from inside our this job container, I will simply comment this listing. That's it. Now save, and now here you can see that we do not have any job listing in our job page. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go to inside our folder, and inside our this jobs folder, I'm going to create another file, and the file name will be job search.js. Now inside our job.js, I'm going to create a listing exactly like this, and I'm going to use that one listing for rest of our listings, and we're going to get the data for this listing from inside our this job list.js. So for getting this data inside our this file, what we have to do, we have to take a variable, and the variable name will be categories, and then we're going to use array dot from, and here you can see that we have initialized an array, and we're going to get data from our this array, which is J category. So I'm going to copy this one and then paste it here. That's it. And also let's go in our job HTML, and if I scroll down, here you can see that we have our this scripts. We have to create another script, and inside this script, I'm going to add a source, and we have to connect our this job search. So that's why it will be job search.js. And here in our job.html file, we do not need our this script.js, but we have to add our this job list file. So that's why I'm going to use job list.js. And here we have another file which is toggle.js, and we have created this toggle.js for the responsive hamburger icon. And since this file is not inside our job folder, we have to use .. That's it. Now after connecting all the JavaScript files, let's go inside our job search file, and here we have created a category, and this category variable will fetch data from inside our J category array. Now after this one, we have to create a function. I'm going to take a variable, and the function name will be display items. And then we have to create an arrow function. That's it. Now what you have to understand is, if you go in our job.html, here we have our job container section, and inside this job container section, we have one listing, but this listing is now commented. Now what I want to do is, using our this function, I want to show that listing inside our this job container div tag. So for doing that, here I'm going to use the ID, and the ID will be root. That's it. Now save, and go inside our job search, and here I'm going to take that ID. So that's why let's take a variable, and it will be root element. And for taking that ID, I'm going to use document.getElementById, and our ID name is root. That's it. And for now, as you can see that our root element is empty. So that's why we have to use root element dot inner HTML and it will be empty. That's it. Now inside our this root element, we are going to have multiple job listing. So inside our this function, I'm going to create items, and since we're going to create multiple job listing items, so that's why I'm going to use for each function. And inside our this for each function, we're going to insert one item at a time. And let's create an arrow function. That's it. Now here you can see that for creating multiple job listing, we have created an items function, and this items function will generate one item at a time. But we have to also initialize these items inside our this function parameter. That's it. Now we have created an item property, and this item property will actually hold our this variables, our index, our images, title, rate, and AV. So for doing that, we have to create a const, and then we have to add some objects, and all those objects will be used by our item. That's it. And the object names will be index, then we have our image, then we have our title, then we have our rate, then we have our AV. Okay, so after adding all the objects, what we have to do? We have to use these objects for creating a new listing. So for doing that, I'm going to create another variable, and the variable name will be JList. And this JList variable will actually store our this div tag. So first we have to create a div tag for our this listing, and for creating that list tag, we're going to use document.create element, and what we have to create? We have to create a div tag, and inside our that div tag we have to create a class name, which is JList. If we go inside our this div tag here, you can see that we have a class name which is JList. Now we have to add this class name JList inside our this div tag. So for doing that, let's target our JList, and then we have to add a class name, and the class name will be JList. That's it. Now after creating our div tag, we have to create our this image tag. So for creating our this image tag, first of all, we have to go inside our div tag. So for doing that, let's target our JList, and let's use inner HTML, and inside our inner HTML, we have to use a backtick. And now inside our this backtick, we have to create our this images, our title, our price, and our this availability. Now I will simply copy these 4 properties from here, and then go inside our job search, and then paste it here. That's it. Now here you can see that we have our image tag, our h3 tag, our paragraph, and our this span tag. Now inside our these tags, we have to use our these properties. So for doing that, here you can see that we have our image, and then we have our source, and I will simply remove this source from here, and instead we're going to use our this image path. So for doing that, let's add a $sign and then curly braces, and then our image variable. And for our this h3, I'm going to remove this text. Again, I'm going to take a dollar and then curly braces, and here I will take our title. And as you can see that our smart suggestion is also suggesting the title. And for our this rate, I'm going to again take a $sign, curly braces, and here I'm going to use rate. And for our this span, I'm going to remove this text. I'm going to take a $sign, add curly braces, and here I'm going to use AV. That's it. Now one thing you have to understand, these variables is actually representing our these objects, and this object value is actually coming from inside our job listing array. And here you can see that we have an image, and for that image property, we have a value. It means indirectly, this value is actually inserting inside our this image source. And you can say that this is a template. It means we have created one listing template. Now for showing that template inside our website, we have to call that. So that's why let's take our root element dot. We have to append that template. So that's why it will be append child. And the template name is JList. Now save. That's it. Now here you can see that we have created our function. And inside our function, we have multiple items. And those items will be shown inside our website using this template. Now we have to simply call our that function. So that's why it will be display item. And then inside we have to pass our these categories. Now save. And boom guys, here you can see that we have our first listing showing inside our website. And here we have our this image, we have our title, we have our rate, and we have our this availability as well. And all this data is actually coming from inside our this J category array. Now if I go inside our job HTML, and from here I can simply remove this line of code. Now save, and here you can see that we do not have anything inside our this job container, but we have a ID root, and this ID root is representing our this div tag inside our this JavaScript file. And as you can see that we are getting all the data from inside our J category array. And because we are going to have multiple items inside our this array, that's why I'm going to use display items. And all the items should be visible only inside our root ID. And initially the root item should be empty. For creating our template, first of all, we have to create a div tag. Then we have to use a JList class name, because this JList class name is already styled inside our this style.css. That's why we have used this JList class name. And then we are going to simply create our first template. And then inside our inner HTML, we are going to create our image, our h3, our paragraph, and our this span tag. After creating our template, we have to append the child, and also we have to call our display item function. Now if I go inside our this joblist.js data file, and I will simply copy this first object, and then I will paste this one. And from here, I'm going to use index 1, and the image will be over.png. Now save. And here you can see that we have two listings showing inside our website. And all these two listings is getting this data from our this array. Now I will simply change our these values for our second listing. That's it. We have title, business associate, then we have our rate, and then we have our part-time. Now save. And here you can see that as soon as I changed this data from inside our this local storing file, those changes are showing inside our website. This is so amazing guys. You have just seen how using only one template, we are now creating multiple job listings for our website. Now what I want to do is, I want to make our this search bar working. It means if I search anything here for web development, here you can see that this search bar is showing results related to web development. If I now simply remove this and search for business, then we have listing according to business. Now I want our this search bar working for our this website as well. So for doing that, let's go inside our job search.js file. And here what I will do is, I will take our document, and then I will take a ID from inside our job HTML. Here you can see that we have an ID for our this input section, and the ID name is search bar. I will simply copy this search bar ID and then paste it here. Then I will use add event listener, because as soon as I write our first text, then I want our this search bar to activate. It means we have to use add event listener, and then the event listener name will be key up, and I'm using this key up property because I am typing here, and if I type anything, it means our search bar will show results according to it. So that's why I'm going to use key up. And then let's target our event, then create an arrow function. Now what we have to do is, by default, this search bar will be case sensitive. It means if I write a small letter and if I write one capital letter, 99% of the time our search field will not work because of this case sensitive issue. So what we have to do is we have to remove this case sensitive issue. So for doing that, let's take a variable and then I will create a variable and the variable name will be search data, and then I will target our event. Then I will take our value, and then what I will do is I will make all this data into lowercase. If user is typing capital letter or a small letter, it doesn't matter. We're going to convert all those letters, all those characters into lowercase. So that's why I'm going to use to lowercase function. That's it. After converting all the character into lowercase, what we have to do is we have to find listing according to our search item. So that's why we're going to create another variable, and the variable name will be filter data, and our data will be filtered from our this categories variable because this category is actually containing all the data. So that's why I'm going to use categories and I'm going to use filter function, and I'm going to filter our item. Then I will create an arrow function. Now inside our these items, we have our heading. We are going to match the search item with our this heading. And this heading can actually contain capital letter and a small letter both. So what we have to do, we have to again make our this data, this text to lowercase. So for doing that, let's take our item variable again, and then I will only target our title, and again I'm going to use to lowercase. Now our job listing title is now converted into lowercase, and I want to show data if our job title and our search text is similar. That's why our listing is okay. Now we have to include our search data as well. Now here we have to again call our display items function, and then inside our this display item function, I'm going to pass our this filter data variable. Now save. That's it. Now I want to see our this search field is actually working or not. Right now, initially our all the listing is showing. If I search for web, okay, now here you can see that it is removing all the data. And as soon as I removing the text, it is not showing all the data back. So I think we have done something wrong inside our code. Okay, I think I have found the error. Here you can see that after our items, I have created a arrow function, and we don't need this arrow function because we are actually passing only one statement. So that's why I will simply remove these curly braces. That's it. Now if I save, and here you can see that initially we can see our listing. If I now search for web, okay. Now here you can see that if I search for web, it is now showing only web related listing. Now if I remove the search text, here you can see that now I have all the listing back. Now let's search for business, and here you can see that it is now showing only the business related listings. This is pretty amazing, guys. And now here you can see that our search bar is actually working. Now what I want to do is, as soon as I click on this listing, I want to see all the data like this. And here you can see that we have the listing image, the listing title, the location, vacancy, position, hours, and the job description, and all the other things. Now I want to create something like this. So for creating this, again, we're going to create one simple template, and inside that template, I'm going to transfer all the data. So for creating that template, what you have to do, we have to simply go inside our folder, and inside our jobs folder, I'm going to create another file, and it will be job-details.html. Now here what I have to do, I have to just go to our job HTML, and I will simply copy everything from here and then paste it here. And here inside our this job details page, I will only keep our header and our footer. I will remove our this job listing section. That's it. Now, as soon as if anyone clicks one of these listings, then I want to redirect our user to our this page, our job details page. So for doing that, let's go inside our this function. And after our root element, I'm going to create a click event. And for adding that click event on our JList, we have to use our JList. Then we have to use add event listener, and the event listener name would be click. And as soon as anyone clicks, then I want to create a arrow function. And here I'm going to use window.location.href. Then we have to create a backtick, and here we have to add that location. It means here we have to add our job details page name. So that's why let's add our job/details.html. Now save. And if I now click one of our listing, our website should redirect us inside our job details.html page. Now let's create on our this first listing. And here you can see that boom, we are now inside our job details.html page. Now let's go to our job details.html page. And here I'm going to create a h1, and I will write this is job details. Now save. Okay, this is not showing because we have to add a class name, and the class name would be extra space. Now save. And here you can see that we have now have an extra space, and then we have our heading. Now our click event is working. If I click on this listing, it is now again redirecting us inside our job details.html. Now we have to start creating this template for showing our this job details and other values as well. Okay, now if I go to our actual website, and if I click our this first job listing, here you can see that we are getting all the job information related to that job listing. And inside our job listing page, here you can see that we have a logo image, we have the text, we have the location, we have the button, and other information as well. Now what we're going to do is, in our website, we're going to actually fetch all of this data from our this data array, and then show those data inside our this page. So for doing that, similarly like this, we have to create some other variables, and we have to store informations inside that variables. Now here you can see that we're going to need this company name. So that's why let's create a variable, and the variable name will be company name. And this will be our company. And then let's create another variable for the location, and the location will be USA. Then let's add the vacancy, this one. And for this job listing, the vacancy will be only 1. Then let's add the hours. And for this job, it will be 50 hours per week. And for our this position, we have already created a title variable, and for this salary, we have already created this rate variable. Now after this one, we're going to need our this job description. So that's why let's create another variable, and the variable name will be description, and the description will be this one. And then now let's create another variable, and we're going to create the workplace variable. And here we are going to use this information. That's it. And then let's create another variable for education, and it will hold our this information. And then let's create another variable for experience, and experience will be this one. That's it. Now here you can see that for our this job listing page, we need some information, and all of these informations are now stored inside our this object. Now what we have to do is we just have to create a template inside our job details.html page, and that template will be used by our all the available job listing. So let's do it. Here inside our job details.html page, if I go to our website, right now we have a heading, and from here I will simply remove that heading. That's it. Now save. And here you can see that right now we don't have anything inside our website. Now let's create a div tag for our template. And here we are going to pass a ID, and the ID will be job details. And then let's create some classes because we need some extra spacing and some padding from the top. And the class names will be extra space. And then we're going to maintain the object with. So that's why we're going to use object with class name as well. And here let's create a paragraph, and it will be this is job details. Now save. And here you can see that we have our paragraph, we have some spacing on the top, and also we have maintained the object width of our page. Now let's remove this paragraph, and here inside we're going to create another div tag, and the class name of this div tag will be job-header. And inside our this job header, first of all I'm going to create our this banner section. Here you can see that we have an image, we have some text, and then we have a apply now button as well. And here inside this I'm going to create another div tag, and the class name of this div tag will be job image row. And here first I'm going to take a image tag, and this Google image is actually inside our images folder, and here we have a google.png. And then let's create a div tag, and inside this div tag I'm going to create a s2, and it will be Google. And then I'm going to create a span, and it will hold our location, which will be USA. That's it. And underneath of our this div tag I'm going to create this apply now button. So that's why let's create an anchor tag, and for now the href will be hash, and then our button name will be apply now. And let's add our global button ID, which is the button. Now let's go to our website, and if I save our website, here you can see that we have our Google image, we have our company name, our location, and our apply now button as well. Okay, so first what we're going to do is we're going to style our this banner. So that's why let's go to our style sheet, and after our this jobs form input, let's create a comment, and it will be job details page. And let's comment this, and from our job details HTML I'm going to take our this job header class name and then paste it here. And right now in our screen we can see that our this complete structure is now in one column, but I want them in one row. So that's why we have to use display flex, and then justify content will be a space between, then align items will be center. Now save. And here you can see that they are actually right now in one row, but we have to fix the image size, and then we will be able to see the proper structure. So for doing that, let's copy this job header and then paste it here, then target our image tag. Let's use a width of 100 pixel, and then background will be white. That's it. Now let's add some other properties, which is padding, and padding will be 1 rem. Then we're going to use border radius, and it will be 15 pixel. Then we're going to need some margin right, and it will be 2 rem. Now save. And here you can see that we have now our proper sized Google image. Okay, so after this one, now let's start styling our this banner background color. So that's why inside our job header, I'm going to use a background color, and the background color will be this one. Now save. That's it. And then let's add a border, and the border will be 1 pixel solid, and the color will be this one. And then I will need a border radius, and it will be 38 pixel. Then I need a padding of 2 rem. Now save. And here you can see that we have a border, around our this banner. Now here you can see that our this Google image and our this Google component name is now actually in one column, but I want them in one row as well. So that's why let's copy this class name and then paste it here. And then we're going to take these two property, display flex, and I don't need any justify content, but I will be needing align items center. Now save, and here you can see that our Google image and our this text is now in one row. Perfect. So after doing that, now let's start creating our these sections as well. And for creating our this feature section, we have actually created them in our home page. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply go inside our index.html. And here I will simply copy this feature section. This one. So I will simply copy this feature section. Copy, close this index file. And underneath of our this div tag, I will simply paste that section. Now save. And if I go to our website, here you can see that we have our heading, our text. And right now our image is missing because we are now inside a different file. So we need to change the image directories as well. So let's select all the images at once. And then I'm going to add ... Now save. And here you can see that now we have all the images. Okay. Now let's go to the top. And from here, I don't need this h2 and paragraph. Now save. That's it. And here I'm going to use a different image. And the image name will be vacancy.png. And h3 will be vacancy as well. And for paragraph, it will be only one vacancy. That's it. Now save. And here you can see that we have our vacancy image, our text, and the number of vacancies. Now let's change the other images and text as well. And this one will be feature 1 image. And our h3 will be, let's go to our website and let's copy this and then paste it here. And the position will be web developer. Then this one will be hour.png. Heading will be hour. And then it will be 50 hours per week. And this image will be salary. And the heading will be salary as well. Let's copy this range also. Now save. And if I go to our website, here you can see that we have now this vacancy, position, hour, and salary. Okay. So after this one, now we have to create this job descriptions as well. Underneath of this section, I'm going to create a div tag. And before starting this div tag, let's change this one. Because inside our div tag, we don't need any section. We're going to need div tag. That's it. Okay. Now let's start creating this div tag for this description. And here we're going to use a class name, and the class name will be job description. And then we're going to need some spacing on the top and bottom. So that's why we're going to use section space. And here I'm going to create a h3. And for the heading, it will be this job description. And then let's create a paragraph for this paragraph. Now let's create another h3 for this employment status. And then let's create a paragraph. And the paragraph will be this one. Then let's create another h3 for this workplace. And then let's create a paragraph, and the paragraph will be this one. Now let's copy this one and then paste it 2 more times. Our another heading will be this educational requirements. And the text will be this one. Let's take this heading as well. And our paragraph will be this one. That's it. Now save. And if I go to our website, here you can see that we have our job description, we have our employment status, workplace, our educational requirements, our experience requirements as well. Now here you can see that I have an error for prettier, and I think I have messed up something. Okay, so here it will be div as well. Now save, that's it. So now here you can see that after this paragraph, we don't have any spacing. So now I'm going to add some spacing after our each paragraph. So that's why let's copy this job description class name and then paste it here. Then target our paragraph, and then I will use padding bottom 2 rem. Now save, and that's it. Now here you can see that we have now spacing underneath of our every paragraph. That's it. Now here you can see that in our job details.html page, I have simply created a template for this job details page. Now I'm going to use this template for all the job listing available in our website. So for doing that, let's go inside our job details.html page, and let's go underneath of our footer, and let's create a script tag. And here I'm going to do JavaScript DOM manipulation. So for doing that, first of all, we need to initialize the DOM content loader. So that's why let's use document.add_eval_listener, and it will be DOM content loaded. Then let's create a arrow function. And now inside this arrow function, we're going to create, or we can say initialize our template. If I go to our job listing page, right now we have only 2 job listing, but this website can have a lot of job listing present at a moment. Now if I click any one of these job listing, it is now redirecting to the same template, which is job details.html. Now if I want to show unique result or unique information based on that individual job listing, then what we need to do is we have to target an ID for that specific job listing. It means all the job listings will have unique IDs, and those unique IDs will be inside our job list.js file. And here you can see that we have some unique index number, which is 0 for this individual job listing. And for our next job listing, we have our index 1. Okay, so this is the unique ID we have to target. It means if I want to see the job details of this Google, then we have to click on this listing, and this listing will be initialized by matching this index number. If the index number is matching, then only it will show this data. So for targeting that index or ID, what we have to do, let's go inside this script. And here we're going to create a variable, and it will be URL parameter. And here we're going to use new URL search params. And here I'm going to use window.location.search. And then I'm going to take the index number as well. So that's why let's create another variable with index, and it will be URL param.get ID. Now here you can see that we have an ID inside this index variable. Now whenever a user click on this job listing, that job listing will have an unique ID. And if that ID is matching with this ID, then this object will pass all the information inside that template. So for doing that, let's create another variable, and the variable name will be select job, and we are going to get all the information from this J category array. And from our J category array, we are going to target this index. So here we are going to pass index. Now what we have to do is we have to go inside this job search.js file, and at the bottom here you can see that we have created a redirect function, so that if anyone click on one of these listing, it will redirect us to this page. Now what I want to do is if anyone click on these job listings, not only I want to redirect them inside job details page, but also I want to redirect them with a unique ID. So for doing that, after our .html, create a search query like this one, and this will actually contain our ID. And since we are going to have multiple job listing, it means we are going to have multiple index numbers as well. So that's why this ID should be a dynamic variable. So for initializing a dynamic variable, we have to add a $, and then here we are going to pass the index number. That's it. Now save. Just look carefully inside our this URL. Right now we have job.html. Now if I click one of these job listing, it will not only redirect us to the job details.html page, but also it will show us the index number for that individual job listing. Now let's try. Let's click on this business associate, and here you can see that we not only have job details.html, but also we have the ID of that individual job listing. That's it. For our Uber, our index number is 1. If I click on this Google job listing, our index number is 0. And this index number, this ID number is coming from our this J category index. Now we have initialized our individual ID. It is time to pass our rest of the data inside our job details page. So for doing that, let's go inside our this HTML. After our this select job, let's create another variable which will actually contain our this template, and the variable name will be job details container. And now we have to target our template ID. So that's why let's use document dot get element by ID, and the ID name will be, let's go to the template, and here you can see that we have an ID which is job details, and then let's paste it here. That's it. Now we have to create an inner HTML element inside our this job container variable. So that's why let's take the job container dot inner HTML. And now inside our this inner HTML, I'm going to create a backtick. And inside this backtick, I'm going to pass our template, our HTML template. So let's go to the template. And from this div tag, I will simply copy everything till our this div tag, copy and then remove. Now we have an empty div tag, and then I will simply paste our this template inside our this job details container variable. That's it. And from here, I will simply remove these comments because I don't need them anymore. That's it. Now save. And here you can see that inside our this div container, we don't have anything. This is just an empty div container. But what we have is, we have an ID which is in job details, and this ID is actually inside our this job container variable. And inside that job container, job details container variable, we have our actual template. Now we have to make our this template dynamic, because right now we have all the information given inside this template. So for making this one dynamic, what we have to do, here you can see that we have created a variable containing our index number, and we have to copy this variable. And here you can see that first of all, we have to make our this image dynamic, and here we have our image, and inside our source, I will simply remove this Google image, and then I will make this one dynamic. So for making this dynamic, we have to simply take this attributes, and then we have to use select job, and then use a dot. After dot, it will be image. Now save, and here you can see that right now it is showing us the image. Now here we have to make our this company name also dynamic. If I remove and save the file, here you can see that we don't have any company name inside our page. So for making this one dynamic as well, we have to use a $, and curly braces, And here we have to use select job dot company name. Now save, and here you can see that we have our company name. Now for verifying the data, let's go back and let's select our this Uber. And here you can see that it is now showing the Uber image, but inside the company name, it is showing undefined, because if I go inside the Uber object, here you can see that we don't have any company name. So that's why it is showing undefined. Okay. Now let's go inside our Google and let's make other section dynamic as well, such as this location. This one will be dollar curly braces, and it will be select job dot location. And I will simply copy this section from here, and I will just scroll down and see if there is any other thing that we have to make dynamic, such as this vacancy. So I will simply paste this one and then use vacancy. After that, we're going to need the position also, and it will be dynamic as well. And it will be a title. That's it. And for hour, it will be also dynamic. And the variable name will be hours. And for this range, it will be also dynamic. And the variable name will be rate. Then for our this job description, this description will be also dynamic. So let's paste, and this one will be select job dot description. And for our this full time, let's paste this, and the variable name will be AV, which is availability. And for our this workplace, our variable will be workplace. And for our this education, it will be education. And for our experience, it will be experience as well. Now save, and here you can see that our images, our these features, our job description, and our employment status, workplace, educational requirements, and experience requirements, everything is now showing inside our job details page. Now let's go inside our this Uber, and here you can see that we don't have some of the information, and that's why it is showing undefined. It means this information is not given inside our this data file. Okay, so for our this Uber, I will simply update our this informations like this. Here you can see that we have our index number 1 for our Uber, we have an image, we have title, rate, and other variables as well. Now if I save this object, here you can see that right now we have our all the information available in our job details page. Perfect. Now after this one, we have only 2 listing inside our this job listing page. But what we're going to do is I'm going to simply create some other listings as well. That's it. Now here you can see that we have a couple of listing inside our this job list.js file. Now save this one, and here you can see that we have other listings showing inside our job.html page. Now let's click on one of these listings, and here you can see that we have a different image, we have a company name, and we have other informations as well. Now as you can see that inside our job listing page, we can have as many as job listings available in our website, and also we can add as many as job descriptions for our these job listings, and each and every one will be unique according to the data given inside our job list.js file. So amazing guys, so amazing. Now after creating our this job details page dynamic, we have to make this responsive as well. So for doing that, let's inspect the website. And as you can see that our website is not looking good in our small screen device. So we have to fix this. Let's go inside our style sheet, and let's go inside our media point 699. And let's go inside our media point 699, 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 and let's go inside our media point And underneath of our this footer, let's create a comment. That's it. So for fixing this one, let's select our this section, and here you can see that we have our job header and we have our all the properties as well. Now I will simply copy the rule from here and then paste it here. And here I will use another property which is flex direction column, and justify content will be flex start. Align items will be flex start as well. And from here I don't want to change the background, the border, but the border radius will be 15 pixel and the padding will be 1 rem. Now save. Here you can see that they are now actually in one column, but still we need to fix our this alignment. So for doing that, let's copy our this section which is job image row. So I will simply copy this rule from here and then paste it here. From our job image row, I don't want to change anything. I will just simply use a margin bottom and it will be 1.5 rem. Now save. That's it. After this one, I want to also decrease the padding of our this image. So that's why let's select the image. From here I will copy the rule and then paste it here. I don't want to change the width and background, but for padding it will be 0 rem, border radius will be 10 pixel, and I don't want the margin right. Now save. That's it. Now here you can see that our this banner section is looking much better in our small screen device. And if I scroll down, our this feature section is also looking good. Our job descriptions is also looking nice. Now here you can see that we have successfully made our this job details page responsive as well. But in our large screen here you can see that for our this feature section we have some extra spacing on the top and bottom. So we have to remove this. So for doing that, let's go inside our job details.html page and let's go inside our feature. And here you can see that we have a class name which is section space, and this class name is actually containing some spacing on the top and bottom. So I don't want that. So I will simply remove this class name and save. And here you can see that now we don't have any extra spacing on the top and bottom. Now in this part of this tutorial, you have learned how to make a dynamic website, how to make a dynamic content, how to use JavaScript DOM loader and other JavaScript techniques as well. Now from this page, if I want to go to the other pages, it will not actually redirect me to those pages because we haven't properly set up the links. So for doing that, let's go inside the job details.html page, and from the header for our this browse jobs, instead of hash it will be /jobs and then job.html. Now save. And if I now click on this browse jobs, it will redirect us to the browse jobs page. And from this page, we can see that we have a lot of job listings, and this search bar is also functional. If we search for web, it will only show us web related job listings. If we search for business, it will only show the business related job listing. And if I click any one of these job listing, it will show us the data, the job description of that individual job listing. And this is it for our part 2 of this course. Now after creating this page, what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply upload these updates inside our domain and hosting. So for doing that, let's go to our hosting provider, which is hostinger.com. And then let's log in inside our account. And after you log in into your dashboard, just scroll down and here you will find a hosting section, and let's click on this manage button. And from here you will find this file manager option. Simply click on that. And it will redirect you to the folder manager where you can upload your files. And for uploading your files, let's go inside our public.html. Right now we have a default.php file. But before I upload our file, let's go to our dashboard and then let's visit our website. And this is the default interface of Hostinger. So for uploading the files and folders, let's click on this upload button and then click on this file. And then from inside the project folder, I'm going to select everything and then click on this open button. And here you can see that all the files are uploaded, but our folders did not upload. So for uploading the folders, let's click on the upload button again, and this time select the folder, and we have to upload the folders individually. And this is uploading our images. After that, let's click on this upload button again and select the folder, and then select the jobs folder. Now upload, and then upload. That's it. Now here you can see that all the folders and all the files in our Hostinger. Now if I go to our website and if I refresh our website, boom guys, here you can see that our complete website is now updated. Right now we are in the home page, and we have created this complete home page in our first part of our tutorial. And if you haven't watched the part 1 of this course yet, then the link of this part 1 will be given in the description. And in our part 2, we have created this browse jobs page. And here we have created our multiple job listings. We have made this search bar functional. If I search for any web, it will show us the web related job listing. And if I search for business, it will only show us the business related job listings. And also we have made all the listings dynamic, so that if anyone click any one of this job listing, then they will see that job description for that individual job listing. And in our next part, which is our part 3, we're going to create this contact page. And inside our contact page, we are going to create a functional email, so that if anyone wants to send an email, then they will use this email form. And also we have added a Google map in our contact page. So that's it guys for this part. Once again, if you guys haven't watched our part 1, then the link of this part 1 will be given in the description. Go and watch that part 1 first, then watch this part 2. And also soon I'm going to upload the part 3 as well for this project. And I hope you guys have learned something new from this course, from this part. And if you guys really do, then please do subscribe this channel, like this video, and press the bell icon for the future videos. And if you guys have any question about this video, then please do let me know in my comment section. That's it guys. See you in our next part.